New 72 Radio, the voice, views, and visions of the collective.
Somebody's already won.
Live on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. And today's topic is a wellness. As you know, we are a group of the girls that try to present to our friends and other people what we believe is a very important that we put in one sentence: healthy you, healthy you. This is Miss Dr. Len, and this is Miss Rebecca. And we are going to try to entertain you for a half hour. Today, our topic is wellness, what wellness is and how to achieve that state of the body and mind as well as the spirit. The word wellness tell you all that you need to know about all of the things that I just mentioned. They are in the world of the wellness, where W stand for weight, E for exercise, double L for most important thing, love, and then love again, and then N for nutrition, E for equilibrium of all of that in connection with the double S that stand for the spirit, and spirit with capital S. So let me share my understanding of how to achieve all of those things in a couple of minutes. Weight is the most important things that is a base for everything else that we are going to talk about about wellness. We know that person cannot be healthy physically, mentally, or spiritually if the weight is not at something that is considered healthy for that person. Medical society talking about some numbers, but healthy weight is the weight that you can carry and run and work your day with a full amount of energy that you may achieve. Extra weight is wearing you down, is ruining your neurohormonal system, make you tired, deprived, and it's just not good. So without exercise in our age, with the sedentary society where we are locked in cubicles for the 8-7 hours, we need to find the different modalities how to achieve and what to do with exercise depending on the age and depending on your rest of the day. This is the hardest part because we need to find 5 minutes breaks in our days. Even now when we're standing, when we're talking on the phone, when we are doing our dishes, every woman will, every man, every child should learn different kind of exercises that are not timely dedicated for whole hour, because this is where we're failing. We don't, as a mother, as a businesswoman, we don't have that hour to dedicate. Most of us doesn't have that hour to dedicate for its own physical body that actually reflecting on every other aspect of the human being. To be able to do proper weight, proper exercises, we need to love ourselves. This is why we have a double love in this world. If we do not find the love for ourselves, we will not invest in ourselves. So that's the key. With a good schedule, that I'm not the best, everybody who works with me know that, but loving ourselves is requiring meditation and contemplation about 24 hours that you have in one day, and when in those busy day and day tomorrow we can actually put those 5-10 minutes of the stretching, yoga, Pilates, walking, running, and all of kind of exercises that we as a group are going to teach you as the year goes on different social media and setting. We'll share our discoveries, how it's done or how we believe that can benefit you. and staying for the nutrition. Proper nutrition in today's society is the number one topic. What is right, what is wrong? It's a changing in medical society. There's a different kind of the nutritional program to help us. Basic is the following. The basic is that in the past, just 20, 30 years ago, your grandparents and grandmothers were needed to take one apple to receive enough amount of the vitamins from that apple. Today, what we're buying in our stores, it's requiring half kilos of the apple actually to achieve similar level of the vitamins. Yes. Our food is deprived for energy of the sun. It's deprived of the clean mineral soil that is nourished, that fruit that then comes up in our body and nourish our body. Our food is genetically modified. Our food is chemically treated. And we cannot do, it's important to know that, and it's important to know there is a tool to prepare those food on the proper way to try to decrease amount of the poison and all the stuff, all the kind of other things that we may be entering in our system, given how food is a place on our plate today. We'll talk about that as well. Nutrition is a huge subject. For now, use a soda bicarbonate and wash your apple and wash your other fruit in the soda bicarbonate with the water for the couple of for the minutes, just to take off all of those eventually sprayed chemical substances that we have no any idea what is exactly is doing to our body. Nutrition, huge topic. Excellent speakers outside on web and internet and media who has a deep knowledge, medical training and other interesting in the health, and we'll collect them, we'll summarize them for you guys, not just in this program, but as we're going further. E is for equilibrium. Equilibrium is a beautiful thing that if we do not have an equilibrium with the weight, with the loving ourselves, with the nutrition, with the exercises, if we overdoing or underdoing some of those things, nothing is achievable. And this equilibrium is a connection with the last two letters of the wellness that stays for the spirit, and spirit with a capital S. When I talk about spirit and spirit with a capital S, this is what our beliefs are, what we believe that we are spiritually as a person, and what we believe that we are receiving for capital S spirits as a human being. Some of them believes in that, some of them doesn't. For those who believes that spirit is exceptionally powerful to motivate us and give us a feel for that wellness that we want to achieve in order to achieve a happiness in this world. So I am here with those two beautiful ladies that I met in the Charleston area accidentally. Some will argue about accident, but they have a thing offer for us regarding achieving not just the physical, mental, and spiritual well-being or being better, but their methods are very sophisticated. They are outside of regular medical science, although there is a lot of research right now going on behind that, and just the time will shows up actually how things will develop. Len, you have a beautiful business called Tomatis that whole my family was doing and trying, and we all have such a beautiful achievement, not just from our audio and perceptive capacity. And I would love if you can tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll go to our wonderful Rebecca. She's just a miracle worker.
Okay, great. I will. Stella, thank you for creating that way of looking at wellness, because I've done some research about the wellness, and it comes up that it's all self-motivated, that the real key to wellness is not that we go to somebody else to tell us what to do, but that we take responsibility for ourselves. And with that in mind, and I have a couple of comments to make that I'll come back to, but let me respond to you about Tomatis. So the Tomatis Method, many of you may have heard of it, is a sound training program that retrains the ear for listening. It's fairly critical as far as understanding that the ear is one of the first organs that fully develops in utero and starts to function in utero. So we learn language, we hear sound for the first time in utero from our mother's voice and from our mother's environment, wherever she is living. And those sounds and that language give us the basis to speak and communicate and focus, pay attention, have memory work, all of that once we're born. We hear in utero through bone conduction. So that's our skeletal systems. When we're born, that switches to air conduction. And what we found, Dr. Tomatis, who was an ear, nose, and throat doctor, found that once we're born, if there are any traumas, and basically physical traumas, but emotional traumas can also cause something, we will retreat to our bone conduction somewhere on the tonal scale where we are at that moment, and that can affect our auditory processing, which means it can slow down how we function. It can actually cause us difficulties in our work. It will be difficult to communicate with spouses or our partners or our children. And so the Tomatis Method actually can help with wellness from the standpoint that it can bring you present again. So for instance, let me give you a couple of situations for adults that I think are key. One is I've worked with a number of people with head injuries, so some brain injuries, and they're all different. No one is the same. But there was one man who had had 2 major brain accidents that was nothing any of us would have thought could happen. He wasn't being risky. One had to do with a bed that fell, and I mean, they were really odd, but he lived with pain every second of his day. And so his wife found Tomatis, and we started working. After 3 sessions, so over a 3-month period, he finally could say, I got through a day without any pain. So something was being reorganized in his body, his nervous system, his muscle systems, to help him not feel that nerve pain that was excruciating. I mean, he lived a horrible life. So that, from a wellness standpoint, puts him in a place where he can even listen to other aspects. You can listen to love yourself because you're not in pain and you don't have to be focusing there all the time. Or you can think, all right, I feel well enough now. Let me look at what I'm eating. Am I eating well enough? Do I feel good in my body? How is my relationship with my spouse? So it made a big difference for him. And that's where a program that is not in the typical medical science log might be able to help someone from a wellness standpoint. I do have other situations. One I was not going to mention about children, but I will bring it up. And autism is so prevalent everywhere now. And it's growing into adulthood with the many children who have had autism for the last 30 years. They're now adults having to live with autism. And that becomes actually a society's responsibility, because very often parents can't handle their adult children who are unable to be by themselves. So in a situation with autism in a family, it becomes an entire family's responsibility. And the way you bring up the other children are affected too. This is where wellness can be critical, and helping a family not only survive but thrive into having these other children be successful and love their lives. Very often mothers have the lion's share of the responsibility when it comes to a child with difficulties or challenges. And so for her to lead the charge for wellness asks another responsibility on top of everything else she's doing. So if there is a way for spouses to work together on that, it's really important. It's really about saving the family and the spirit of the family, the spirit of the individuals. And Tomatis actually can be really helpful in something like that. It might bring an autistic child who has no language to a place where the child speaks language, and all of a sudden parents have an easier way of being in the world because that child can respond to them. There's some emotional intelligence, there is some executive function that's happening, and the world changes for that family. So, you know what? I'll take a little break here because that's a lot about Tomatis. I have some comments about wellness too, but Rebecca, why don't you feed in a little bit about hypnotherapy if you want to, and because it does. I've come to you to help me with my wellness with your hypnotherapy. So go ahead.
Well, it's funny. All three of us have all worked with each other and helped each other with our own modalities, and I think that's really speaks to this whole concept of wellness being sort of a crooked line in one respect, or a multi-pronged approach to how you achieve wellness. I do want to say, to speak to Len and the Tomatis Method, that my daughter used Tomatis, I think when she was about 12. She was really struggling in math, and you said it reorganizes the brain. So we didn't even plan to do it for that reason. We just were going to do it because my son was doing it for some health reasons, and we thought we'd get her in on it. And then afterwards, a couple months later, she said it helped her to latch on to the ideas in math better. And that was really amazing. So I think it does reorganize the brain. I highly recommend, if you have, if this sparks any instinct within you, to reach out to Len and just ask if it might help with what challenge you might be having, or one of your children is having. So in my wheelhouse with hypnotherapy and behavioral coaching for wellness, I am a huge proponent. You've heard me say this before. You might get sick of it, but I'm going to keep saying it. And that's the concept of emotional fitness, emotional wellness, and how crucial our emotions are to our wellness. And then understanding that emotions come from our thoughts and beliefs and perceptions. So you can put two people in the same situation, and one is feeling stressed and one is feeling excited. You can put two people flying on an airplane, standing in front of a group speaking, and endorphins are going off chemically in one body, and cortisol is, going out of control in another body. So where I see wellness going in this next decade is there being placed an emphasis on emotional fitness, emotional wellness, mindset wellness, in addition to physical fitness. So, back in the 50s, there was this big push for physical fitness. And I will tell you, hands down, that I work out several times a week. I work out with a trainer twice a week. Last night, I took my dog for an hour-long walk, and then left the dog and went more walking. And that's a really healthy way to just clear your stress. I also think it's a really good habit. I think it's a European habit to walk after a meal. And so I love to walk after a meal. I feel like it helps with digestion and with energy. But in my practice in hypnotherapy, people are coming to me primarily, I would say, for anxiety. Anxiety comes in so many forms, and as a society, we sort of react to these stressful emotions, and our reactivity will tend to cause us to do things like smoke and drink and overeat, some of the unhealthy ways of coping, although the subconscious mind thinks that that cigarette is helping with stress, or that over nighttime eating is calming you or soothing you. But what I think people really need to start thinking about is, how can I integrate tools and techniques for wellness from the inside out? You hear a lot about meditation. And I think for most people, clearing the mind of all thoughts is very difficult. And so if you could even listen on YouTube to guided meditations that are positive, guided hypnosis Hypnosis to me is a bridge to silent meditation. It has many of the same benefits. They've actually shown just with 10 minutes of either hypnosis or meditation, it lowers your blood pressure, your heart rate, your body temperature will regulate better because your muscles are more relaxed. And so there's things that you can do on a daily basis for wellness that don't take a lot of time. And then the other piece of it would be is to really just find proactive ways to deal with anxiety, to be finding whether, you know, it's traditional talk therapy or something like hypnotherapy, even more, let's say, cutting edge things like Reiki, doing things that are actually really going to shift you energetically, emotionally, and with your mindset. So that would be my piece of the pie today for our wellness talk.
So Rebecca.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Miss Rebecca, the most important things that I learned from you is, and I try to teach the children about that, allow yourself to relax. That's something that actually with responsibility and schedule of our day, we do not do to ourselves. So another day, my sister, we are family from the Bosnia and Herzegovina, under everything, under all sophistication, and we very often change and exchange between us the messages to help each other. And one of the messages that we share within each other is that we forget to pray in our life. And because for praying from the heart, person needs to dedicate those 5 minutes to connect with the spirit, with the God, to be able to find that peace of the meditation and relaxation in ourselves. We are afraid of the present. We are afraid of the future. We are sorry for the past, but we are never present right now in this moment in the fullness. Always something pushing us to think or pushing us to plan. That is good on long and short term. But being present, actually looking into each other's face, into each other's eyes, feeling each other, being there for each other. When you got that instinct to hug the person that is stranger to you, I would advise you, because that is the exchange of the spirit between two of you. And it needs to be done for the wellness, because after that, another day on the parking lot, one short-haired girl, teenager, was approaching me and says, "Hey, what language you speak? What is your accent from?" So we convey. She is adopted from the Russia, and hearing my Slavic accent, she was about to start to cry because she felt that some connection is there. So we hug each other, and I have to tell you, that hug is powerful. For a couple of hours after that, I felt like an angel. Feeling like an angel means not feeling anxious. so go ahead in that world and be love. This is why it's double love in wellness. Be love to yourself, be love to each other. This is how God speak through us, through the love. Len, you wanted to mention something I couldn't think about, that beautiful sentence from the Rebecca. Allow yourself to relax. Go ahead, Len.
Allow yourself to relax is such an important thing. And so to give you some ideas of when you might slot into your life the time for meditating or praying. You know, I grew up and we always were told to do our prayers as we were going to bed. So we would either be on the floor kneeling or we'd be in the bed, and it would just be a very individual situation with each other. Well, I've switched that around a little bit. I have added 10 or 15 minutes to my time that I wake up in the morning. And even if I'm getting up early to go to go exercise, I add a little bit earlier time, and then I stay cuddled in the bed and I go onto my phone and do a meditation from my phone. It It helps put me in a really calming, thoughtful place that prepares me for the day. I actually then think through what I'm going to do in the day. I get excited about it because there's an energy that comes up from within. I'm going to see this person, or I'm going to see that person. And the whole reason they're in my life is because I want to see them and I want to be with them and offer them something. They offer me. I always get feedback from people with whom I work. But I also, so then you have a choice. You have a choice to say, during my day-to-day, this is when I will take the time. And you can look forward to that. You can say, I'll have lunch at noon, but for 5 minutes at noon, that's my time. I'm going to sit quietly and meditate then. And if all you do is sit quietly and try to clear your mind, that's a meditation in itself, and it will give you a calm that can help you go through the afternoon. I think that's sort of fun to do too. I wouldn't suggest you do it while you're driving because you need to be aware of what you're doing at the wheel. But there are many times during the day in a work day that you can close your door at the office and take 5 minutes. And so that's good, Stella and Rebecca, that you mentioned that. I want to tell you about another program that is really a phenomenal program for helping heal situations or bring you present or have you know more about what you're doing. And it's called Guided Self-Healing. And a very dear friend of mine, Jerry Fathour, who lives in Ohio now, but is from Arizona. Well, she's from Indiana originally, but via Arizona and to Ohio now, practices it. So she has a new website, and I can't recall it right now, but if you probably put in Gerry Fathour, Fathauer, it would come up. And she spends time with you on the phone, guiding you through a meditative process. And so if you struggle with finding that time to be quiet or even to be prayerful or thoughtful, this is a way to help you bridge that, move yourself into a place where you can think about it. Well, Rebecca does that too. I mean, it's really part of what she does, and it's very peaceful when you're with her. I want to tell you too that Stela has helped me. She's my doctor, my personal doctor. And I asked her in the last year, I can't even remember when I had my well checkup, what I could do to prepare myself to not have to get into pills for things. So how does the body wear itself out? At what point do you have to start taking supportive action? And Stela told me exactly what she had mentioned earlier, lose weight. I'm 5'2.5". That's not very tall. And she said, lose 20 pounds. And I thought, oh my gosh, can I lose 20 pounds? And so over the last 7 or 8 months, I've been doing it. And I'm only down 12 at this point. But it's a huge thing. I feel different. My body feels different. What?
You said only 12. 12 is great.
It is great. I've changed sizes of clothes and everything. And I still see the 20 as my goal because I know over time, once I reach it, I'll have to stay there. Well, in addition to that, though, I've recognized what my body needs to survive. And I don't need the food that I used to eat. I eat a lot less. And I get concerned once in a while about starving myself, but the body can be hungry and you can be fine. And I'm eating plenty of food. So it's a real learning process that as we age, it's important to work with our bodies. And that, I think, actually feeds the heart and the mind and the spirit. Because if our bodies are feeling healthy and I feel so much better, then I can be in a place that when I pray and meditate, I feel it all in my body, and then I can move and act on it. So it's really valuable from a wellness standpoint to take that action and that responsibility. It was a lot to take, and it was not easy to get started, and now it's just much easier for me to stay in that mode. So thank you, Stela.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The key is to love yourself, to take care of your weight, to take care of your nutrition. On the top of everything, you can have a will, but you do not have an executive power. Executive power is requiring preparation and scheduling. Mm-hmm. Schedule your meals, plan the day in front of you from the business mother, wife, sister, daughter perspective and put the time for those 5 minutes of the being with yourself, 5 minutes for the stretching. Combine. When you're washing the dishes, you can stretch. I should produce some video during my stretching and washing the dishes. That would be fun to watch. So it is scheduled. It is just that small things called scheduling your life. When you're on vacation, you don't need to. You can be spontaneous because you have plenty of time and you really just then pay attention on yourself. But when we are in the busy mode, schedule, buy the notebook, record what you're eating, find out where are you making mistake. You are your own doctor. You know it. Everything is outside. You learn. You educate yourself. And when you make mistake, do not feel guilty. Guilt is not from the God. Guilt is from the evil. It is just pulling us down. It doesn't pull us up. Rebecca, there is one thing that I would love to ask you regarding wellness that you may help our listeners. We were talking about very important things for emotional health, and it's called emotional distance. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I think I actually like that term quite a bit. I think the term I'd used is healthy detachment, which is a form of emotional distance, but it's in a healthy way in that, this world we live in, we can't help but feel other people's emotions and energy on a daily basis. We tune into people in our work environments, in our homes, even out in stores and public venues. And I think it's really important that if you are someone who is affected by other people's energy and emotions to the point where it can affect your mood and your energy, then it's really important to learn these techniques for emotional distance, healthy detachment. And it doesn't mean you don't feel, which is some form of dissociating. It means that you're aware that your friend is upset, they're having stressful emotions, but I'm a big believer that you can help people and be present with people and be loving and without needing to feel what that other person is feeling. And we're programmed in our society to have that compassion, but sometimes you can serve people better and more lovingly and yourself more lovingly by not taking on those stressful emotions that other people are feeling. I think that's a huge part of wellness. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing in my job. That's one of the main things that I'm teaching the family members and children of my geriatric population, that from time to time they need to get into the term from the parting from the loved person. Fortunately, in a geriatric as well, we very often need to learn how to part of the younger people as well. And the thing is that encouraging people that death is just a part of our living, that we cannot help it a lot, but that we need to love this person when the person is alive. And be attached of that loss is exceptionally important for the health, physical, emotional, and mental health for the family of my patients. To give them or allow them emotional or the attachment from the being overcome from the sadness, because we need to make that training in our heart not to go in that kind of the emotion, because they are destructive, not for ourselves, but for everything else. Nothing is a build with bad emotions. And that's what I learned, Rebecca, from you as well. Super. It was such a great program that we have. Len and Rebecca, do you have any closing messages to our listener?
Yes, I'll say a little bit. I like what we've said about wellness, and there are so many programs we'll mention during the year that you can consider. Of course, the medical field is gaining so much information of how to treat things that used to be fatal, and now they are solving issues. So the medical field is a critical part of an integration of a way that you look at wellness. We will also look at other programs like Feldenkrais and the Alexander Method and Rubefeld Synergy and just Swedish massage and touch, human touch. And I think that is really important if you are going through some kind of change in your life and you feel alone. If you're able to get a massage or go and have some kind of human touch in a form that can help you feel caressed and taken care of, there are a lot of wonderful massage places to go that are not as expensive as spas. They're individuals. There's actually a new website that we used when I was out west at Christmas, and I think it's called Zeal or Zeet. Anyway, I forget the name, but we called them. All of a sudden, we had a west to the house. So I look forward to having those discussions about wellness and how else we can take personal responsibility. What I did find in looking at wellness was the important part of that word, with everything that you mentioned, Stella, is the personal motivation that we have to take that responsibility. It's not something someone can give you for wellness. Someone can say, well, you might consider weight and your nutrition and all of that, but until you personally take responsibility for your own health, the wellness will be harder to come. And so consider that. Consider what you do in your own practice and waking up early to meditate, having your breakfast, already know the night before what you plan to do the next day, so you make sure you include it in what you're doing. And from that standpoint, I think you'll find that your days and your weeks and even the year will be much more rewarding, joyful, and you'll feel the love that we're all talking about is so important to embrace. Rebecca?
Well, I guess for 2018, just, I feel like I say it every day, but make wellness a mind, body, spirit agenda for you. And if you're struggling with the physical part of wellness, if you're struggling to make those food changes, getting off sugar, eating healthier foods, motivation to exercise, a couple things you can do is get on my email list, because I'm sending out several articles to how to make your 2018 great, which includes one coming up on exercise motivation. But if you're having trouble making those changes that you need to do to improve physically, look at finding a way to clear the mental blocks that are holding you back from making the healthier food choices, that are holding you back from the exercise motivation. Don't beat yourself up. There's always some reason, albeit maybe a misguided one, but some other part of your mind might be resisting some of those changes for improved wellness because it thinks that there's a payoff or benefit to continuing to eat that ice cream every night. Or sometimes we can develop, believe it or not, aversions to exercise. And there's, I hate to say this, but good reason. Your mind thinks that avoiding it is some payoff or benefit. So look at, again, clearing those mental roadblocks that would keep you from improving your wellness. And don't look at it as something negative or defective about you. Just look at it like you look at your phone. You upgrade your phone every 1 to 2 years. And so you got to upgrade your thinking to align with your goals.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
That's good. It's practically everything is about a level of the consciousness. So level of the personal and community consciousness to move us forward toward the better world. Use the nature, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need the money to be healthy. You just need that power from within you. Combine, as a mother, as a woman, combine exercise with a time with your loved one. Motivate on that way your children to start to do some stretches, some yoga. YouTube stuff has everything on it. With your husband, go ahead and walk around. When you see the good tree that you believe that you can climb, and you cannot sue me for this, climb it every day, because there is no better exercise to use whole body. In meantime, you can discuss the life and existence with your loved one. So combine, and good luck. Watch up on the weight. Watch up what you're eating. Chips is not allowed. Bread is okay, but in moderation. Watch up on those pastas. You cannot take them. Moderation in the coffee, moderation in alcohol is needed. And the meal preparation is a must. Cut your portions on your plates, and feel the hunger for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you are still hungry, put a little bit more on your plate. Don't feel hungry. You will be unhappy. You will fight with your loved one. So go ahead. We'll keep you posted with all new discovery. We'll have a little better website for you in which you can link with each of us. We are so excited that we're going live. I finally become popular. Yeah, and I love you all. All the best.
Before you go, actually, Stela, I just want to know, can we see you climbing a tree? Because I think that would be really fun.
I need to pace actually who I am for all of you, not to shock you too much.
Well, it's good to see you.
We'll be broadcasting our next show from a huge tree
Oak
in
tree.
South Carolina.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, but I was thinking those Hawaii and shooting the Hawaii trees.
Yeah, we could do that. They're mainly palm trees, but we could go to Hawaii. Well, I think it would be fun. Why not? We just need the right equipment. And
we need to actually just to visualize. This is the part of that wellness. Visualize yourself where you want to be and go for it. It doesn't harm other human being or yourself. You're on the right path. So visualize, see yourself, find what is in your heart and go for it. Do not go for the money. It's beautiful to have it, but it is not actually a ticket for wellness.
Great. Stela, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Rebecca. Y'all have a good day.
Good day.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.